Hey, this is Cameron, and welcome to the practice log. Alright, well, we got a lot of stuff to do today, so let's go ahead and jump into the stuff, shall we? So much stuff, oh my god! God, it's so warm. I think I'm gonna leave the AC on for now. I'm really sorry about that, but I'm gonna try to cool off with one of these. How you doing? Oh, geez, the light's all streaking all over my apartment. It's 5:15 p.m. It's actually an appropriate time to start having your first beer. And this is like my first two right here. Look at this, tall boy. Oh god, I kind of want to turn the AC off now. I'll let it raise 2 degrees in here. It's just kind of warm. Like this time of day, it gets really hot. My AC has to work hard. We'll ignore that for now though. Yeah, big announcements. I mean, an announcement I need to make. The sweatshirts that you saw last time, they're up there. They are now live. Let me show them to you really quick. Hold on. Of course, we got the Sore Hands Classic. Look at this thing. Boom. The lighting is horrible. Look at that. We got the Thior bug on it. We got Dusty. I mean, you guys kind of saw it in the last one already. I'm not wearing it right now, again, because it's warm. As I cool off, I'll put it on. The other one is, of course, Dusty. Dusty got the logo on the back. Then we have the RSI embroider hand on there. You can see model shots of these if you go head on out and over to Rutin's Delight. Link in the description. You can see me like actually wearing these. They look pretty dope. I'm really happy with them. I think they look great. Heidi did a fantastic job with designing everything. Dang, the AC is already going to turn back on in a second. Oh, there it goes. All right, what we're getting into today. Well, first, just some updates. I'll bring the mic a little closer so you don't hear the AC quite as much. I'm really excited to get to practicing because I've sort of reached an epiphany with my practice. I feel like I've been sort of like not working as hard as I should be. And like I did work really hard for a long time, like especially when I started this. And I've been sort of like taking a back seat with everything. But I'm realizing now that my technique needs to improve. And I talked about it last time, like in Friday's video. So like going forward, these practice sessions, they're going to be longer and they're going to be filled with way more technique. And I think learning new music maybe isn't even that important right now. Like, I'm still going to keep learning Recuerdos. I might hold off on the Chaconne for now. Like, maybe I'll still read through it. But with where I'm at, with the Bach that I have that I need for auditions, I think it's probably best that I just stick with that and I just really hone in on my technique and try to actually improve the music that I'm playing right now. Because honestly, I've been getting bored with my practice. Like, I've just been playing the same old music and I've been finding that I can't practice for more than like an hour just on repertoire because it's just so boring. Like, I already have done it. But recently, I've been working like technique like 2 hours a day on top of repertoire, and it makes working on repertoire way more fun. Starting off today, like I'm just gonna hammer on technique for like an hour and a half probably, or we'll see how long I do it for. But I got 3 of these puppies, and it's only like 5:23, so I got all the time in the world. I need to be done by like 9, and I can edit tomorrow morning. I don't care. So we're gonna try to really hammer down some technique practice today. Now, you might have some questions if you care, like what exactly am I doing for technique? What is it that I'm working on? Like what is it that I find lacking? In short, scales and arpeggios, and I think I'm going to talk about it more in the next practice log that I do, because I think I have some other stuff to talk about today. Here's the main comment that I wanted to get to, and then I'm going to mention a few other comments on the side of it. Is grip and forearm strength beneficial for playing? And I appreciate some of the answers that this one already got. We got one from Steven Bornfeld, friend of the channel. What's up, man? And you said, if you need strength to fret your strings, you need to improve either your technique and or your setup. Now, the way that question's phrased also kind of got me thinking. I would say, and this is just me sort of like riffing on it right now, it is beneficial to a certain extent. And I actually think that's something that we, as classical guitarists, don't really like to talk about that much. There's some like forbidden stuff here. But there is a certain amount of strength that is required in your hands to actually press down on the strings. Because we like to talk about having zero tension, but there is inherently going to be some sort of tension unless your hand is just completely like dead and limp, you know? The amount of strength required to play a note on the guitar, like this note. I don't know what note that is. Post in the comments what note that is. It doesn't require really much strength at all to push the string against the fret with sufficient pressure to get it to come out without buzzing. Like, it's a little more than that. However much pressure that is, which I imagine if we like put that on a scale, it's probably not that much. So, like, that much strength is, like, beneficial for playing. Have you ever seen those, like, I bet Fender makes them, but those, like, gripper things that you can use, like, on individual fingers, and it's supposed to make your fingers stronger? Oh, Diodario makes them. Oh, man. When I finally get that Diodario sponsorship, I have to, like, endorse that product. Well, I'll go ahead and say it. I don't endorse that product, and I think it's like dumb. I've had students walk into lessons with those things before, and it's always kind of awkward. But at least for our music, classical music, your fingers don't really need to be that strong. And there was one comment also that I wanted to look at, which I just wanted to mention it because it's kind of relevant. But this one's from Dan K. I think he's a first-time commenter. This was just on the guitar teacher makes fun of kids on the internet. I was the guitar teacher, of course. And I was sort of dogging on the kid just because he was like a fingerstyle, like tappy guitarist. And you know how I feel about that. And I just mentioned that like not everyone who's like playing that kind of music will have like technique that you even want to replicate. Because he was saying that you should like replicate technique that you see of people who are like good at that style. And he was saying that that can be like sufficient in like replacing a guitar teacher, which it depends on the guitar teacher, of course. But somebody can be good at guitar and still have like bad technique, because that's not really what technique does. Technique doesn't make you good at guitar. Like it kind of does, but it doesn't. The real thing that you get from technique is that you get longevity from it. And that's sort of a thing too, because you always hear this from students where it's like, well, I can play the thing, but I play it in this way that you're saying is like bad technique, but I'm still able to do it, so who cares? And it's like, I know that you can still do it, but what if there's a way where you could practice and do it in this way that's a little more awkward, and it will reduce tension, then you'll be able to play it for twice as many years as the first way that's like less awkward for you, probably because you're used to it, but you're able to do right now. Like, I'm just saying that there's a way, and like however many weeks it takes of practice, you will be able to do it all the same, but it's just going to come out to less chance of injury over time. And that's really what technique is. Technique doesn't always make you better, but it makes you play for longer, which is really what you want. So, your comment was, only classical guitarists have super great technique, ? You're questioning something that I said. I guess I said that. That sounds pretty elitist from where I'm sitting. Well, I've said this before. I'm a elitist. There you go. You got it, guys. Classical guitarists typically have the best technique, and I'll tell you why. We play the hardest music. You want to argue with me with that? I know when you listen to these other like guitar styles, like they sound really like fast and flashy. It isn't comparable, and if you don't have supreme technique, you're going to injure your hands playing this stuff, because it's more than just like a fast scale or like a fast run of notes. It is this dense conglomerate of melodies all being played at once, and it requires perfection, basically. Yeah, so it's different. There is a certain formality with classical guitar that sort of promotes like studying technique. That's at least in my experience, and I'm saying that as somebody who's played many different styles of guitar. When I was playing like rock, and even to some extent like jazz, technique really wasn't talked about. Like, as long as you were able to produce the final thing that was needed, then it doesn't really matter. But that's not always the case with classical guitar. Like, you may be able to produce the final thing, but if your technique isn't like perfect, when I say perfect, just something that looks like it's promoting longevity in some way, your classical teacher is going to say something like, hey, this is all sounding great, all the notes are coming out, let's work on your actual like technique, because I can see tension in your hands. And that's true for classical piano too. Who else in piano is really like thinking about technique that much other than the classical pianists? And look at the music the classical pianists are playing versus like pop pianists. It's not even comparable. Like looking at Rachmaninoff and stuff. No, it's the hardest stuff to play on piano. And it's the same thing with guitar. It's the hardest stuff to play on guitar. Like, I don't care. You can argue with me in the comments like that something is harder. It just isn't. And I've been around the block with guitar, and I played all kinds of guitar. Classical is the one that takes forever to learn. To go back to your first question, is grip and strength beneficial for playing guitar? It is, to some extent, because whatever minimum amount of tension that you need to actually get a note to sound, that is your grip and hand strength. So yeah, you need that. Now when it comes to classical guitar, you don't really need that much grip and hand strength. You should be able to make up for a lack of strength with better technique that allows your hand to more easily press down on notes. And what that technique might look like, first off, your fingers being in the strongest shape possible, which is a curve. Of course, if your finger is long like this, there's some sort of like math person that can answer this, but you can't hold as much weight. Like, I can't stop my other hand from lifting my finger like that, as well as if I were to curve it like this, because it's just more sturdy. Keeping your fingers curved, most of your fingers, isn't usually an issue. The one that I find is most the issue is the pinky. So like that, for example, we would consider like bad technique, and you would need more grip strength to actually get that pinky note to come out. Again, I don't know what note I'm playing with my pinky there. Post in the comments if you do. It would be easier if I curved my pinky more. Now it requires less strength for my pinky to actually get that to come out. So that's like a technical improvement you can make there. And there are many improvements that you can make, and after a long series of them, you'll eventually find that you don't really need that much strength in your hands to get these notes to sound. You don't have to do all that, and you can still play everything that somebody with perfect technique could play, but you'll find that your hand will maybe get tired. Or maybe it won't get tired, but you'll just be exercising your hand more than it actually needs to be exercised. I think it's probably better to find the easiest route, because this isn't like strength training for our hands. That's not what playing guitar is. We're perfecting like fine movements, and if we can execute them with less force and energy, that's probably a good thing. I'm just saying stuff over here. I don't actually know. Now, that's just classical guitar. And you didn't say classical guitar, you just said any kind of guitar. There are types of guitar that, if you have hand strength, it's going to help a lot. You'll notice my technique changes depending on what I'm playing. Like, my technique's going to change if I'm playing something like that. And you'll see, like, my thumb goes up here. I'm playing with more tension. It's because you need more tension to play that kind of music. Like, I'm doing these little, like, micro bends. And I'm doing this, like, thick, big vibrato. So, for that stuff, like, hand strength, of course. Like, doing bends on electric guitar, that requires hand strength. But again, only a certain amount of hand strength, and it might be less than it seems. Now, what's cool about classical guitar, if you immerse yourself in its technique and then apply it to these other genres, you can more easily find the way to play something that requires more tension than like a single note on classical guitar, like something like a bend. You can find the way to play that requires the least amount of tension possible. There are wrong ways to bend a string too. Like if you bend at a weird angle, like really towards the fretboard, you're gonna have to use more energy to push the string up. Bar chords, which this can be classical too. Like obviously bar chords, pressing down on 6 strings is gonna take more strength than pushing down one note. A lot of people find bar chords hard because they are kind of hard, but I also think that we practice them in a weird way. Because when I'm playing a bar chord, like on guitar, like, I'm usually not holding them for that long. I think out of any piece that I've learned, Villa-Lobos Etude 1 has the most bar chords you have to hold down for the longest in a row. But I mean, typically when you have a bar chord in a piece, like, it's kind of only held down for like a second at the most. But when we're practicing them, we're just constantly like pressing them down and just trying to get it to come out. So, of course, they're going to be hard and they're going to hurt if you play them like that. And that's going to require more hand strength than the hand strength required to play them in the actual piece that you're learning, which you only have to hold it down for like a moment and then you immediately go back to just playing single notes again or something like that. That's just like a little like beginner practice tip. If you're working on bar chords, don't just sit there like holding it down and just trying to get the notes to come out. Maybe like set your hands on the strings as gently as you can, like with the least amount of tension as possible. And then once everything's set, push down, play, and then release and let your hand relax again and let go. Don't just keep it held down. You know, little things like that can help with not having to use as much hand strength and can maybe stave off injury a little bit. Even with all this stuff, injury is still very possible. It's just about making it as least likely as you can. So that's why we study technique. I think that's all I want to get into today, because I really want to practice, and it's 5:47, so I've talked for long enough. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Buy a sweatshirt, and a shirt too if you want, and I'll see you in the piano bench. Alright, we are back in it. I'm really excited to get into this one. I'm very optimistic about my practice now. So, let's just go ahead and jump into it. The sun's in my eyes. I'll see you on the other side. Oh man, this session has not gone how I thought it would go. I've just been drinking beer. It's been making my hands kind of cold, to be honest. I've only practiced like an hour and 20 minutes or so, but I think I'm just ready to play something for you. So I've like barely eaten today, and this beer is kind of hitting me like hard. So Why don't you come on over? Alright, here's what I'm gonna do. Oh, I'm sorry, my hair is just up. Is that okay if I leave it up? I know that you guys have never seen me with my hair up before, but my hair was getting in my face and was annoying me. Oh yeah, my Kindle died, so I couldn't work on, like, what I was going to work on. So I ended up just working on a bunch of scales, and I played through the fugue, like, once. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play through my fugue, and it's actually kind of unusual for me to be, like, drunk while playing my fugue. So this will be interesting. Also, I know I've been neglecting the other movements of that sonata, but I don't know, I'm just working on the fugue a lot. So, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna maybe slow it down a bit, and I'm also just gonna take some time on some stuff. I'm just gonna have fun with it, how about that? You guys are gonna hear my interpretation after almost 2 of these on essentially an empty stomach. And I'm not done practicing today. I'm gonna practice more after this, or not. I mean, I don't know, it's Sunday, what do you want from me? Monday, I'm gonna hit it hard, I'll tell you what. Check this out. Wow, I feel a little drunk. I feel like that was a drunken performance of that fugue. I kind of want to do it again. I think I might do it again. We'll see. Oh man, that was me playing my fugue while, like, I feel those beers. I do feel them. It probably came out a little weird. Ooh, my hair smells good. But I don't know, that's where it's at. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up here, but I'm probably going to keep practicing after that, to be honest. I'm going to edit a little bit, just to, like, make sure, like, I know exactly how much I need to edit tomorrow before I need to upload. And then I'm probably going to keep working on technique. Might find some food after that, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, you know, it was a practice session. It was alright. It wasn't as long as I was intending, but that's fine. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. I'll see you in the outro. Hey, well, you know, if you made it this far, be sure to subscribe and leave a like. And hey, we got these new sweatshirts out. Sweatshirts, Sore Hands. We got the Dusty. If you want to support the channel, that's how you can do it. I don't have a Patreon or anything. This is sort of my version of Patreon. You can buy a sweatshirt. What else we got? Oh yeah, guitar lessons. I do offer those. I won't be drunk when I'm doing them. I promise you that. Never have been. Yeah, so be sure to email me about that if you are interested in that sort of thing. You know, I'll teach you classical guitar. That's pretty much as far as my expertise goes, though. What else? Comment questions, feel free to leave those. I might talk about them in the chair at some point. Okay, I need to do some other stuff, and then I'm gonna, you know, keep practicing more guitar. Be sure to practice guitar today, in case no one said that to you today. Be sure to do that. And, yeah. I'll see you in the next one.